Well, the zucchinis have arrived, and we're trying to use them all up now. And this is one of the recipes that we really enjoy that I thought I'd share with you. You need some zucchinis and then some fresh peppers, and green peppers are starting to come in now. So I just ran out to the garden and picked a couple green peppers, and then I picked an assortment of peppers because I don't actually have any red peppers yet, but I'm just going to use the yellow ones instead. Now, to start out, as always, you have to make sure that you really thoroughly wash all your, jars. Basically, I'm using new jars now because I got a bunch of them for Christmas. So make sure that you, wash them out good and really rinse all the soap out of them because that can ruin the product. And, one of these foam brushes really is a handy thing to have to be able to get in there and, wash the lids with hot soapy water while you're at it. And then I just get them in a pot ready to go. And here you can see some of the zucchinis actually are getting overgrown now, and I brought a couple of them in to wash good first. Actually, I only needed like a little bit over one for this recipe, so I do have a couple extra. So, I get out the mandolin and I start trimming the ends of the zucchini first. Now, this is a nice tool to have if you're going to be even making like the zucchini spaghettis and stuff like that, but it works really great. But if you're not experienced with it, you may want to get one of those cut-proof gloves to use with a mandolin because zucchini can be slippery. But, there's what you get. You get like a nice 1/8 inch square pieces, slices off of it. And, you just have to really be careful because you can't use a little pusher when you're doing a big zucchini like this. So, make sure the zucchini's big enough and, in reality, get a cut-proof glove if you have any doubt. So it only takes a couple passes over it to get all the good meat off it. And, just avoid any of the seeds. When you get to the seeds, just turn and start the other side. Now, this is how fast I wish I could chop, but, I can't. So I start out with 4 cups of zucchini, all chopped, really fine like that, as you can see. And then I need some onions, so I'm going to use some Vidalias. And for some reason, all the Vidalias that we bought this year have like a little onion grown in the middle of them. I don't know what it is, something about the weather or something like that, but we always have to take that out. Kind of like a wasted piece, but it could just be that they're getting old or something like that too. Anyhow, you just, you can use any kind of onion. I like the Vidalias because they're a sweeter onion for this recipe, so just have to take them and slice them first, and then just chop them about 1/8 inch also, just like the zucchini. And you just need 2 cups of chopped onions. Now this recipe is from the Ball Blue Book that I have, and I don't see it in the new Blue Book, so that's why I'm just kind of listing the ingredients and instructions here. And then you need I've actually doubled the recipe, so you need a cup of chopped green pepper. So I'm going to start with my green peppers there and, just kind of clean them out and chop them fine again. Try to get them down to about the 1/8 inch square pieces. And then you're supposed to have red pepper, but these are supposed to be the red peppers. They will be red in about another week or so, but they're still kind of, not yet. So I'm going to use them anyway. They have the flavor, but they just don't have the color to make it look real pretty in the end. And just, these have some real fine seeds, so you really have to rinse them. And that's the good thing about this new sink that we put in. It's got that real deep strainer, and it's really great for veggies because that thing catches everything. You can just take it and dump it easily. So there's my zucchini, my onions, and my peppers. And next thing I'm going to do is take and put them all in a large stainless steel bowl here and just kind of mix them all together. Because basically you have to salt them down and let them sit for a while. So I'm just going to start by putting everything in a larger bowl here, as you can see, and then we get this pickling and canning salt in bulk from our Amish store up the road, but you can buy it anywhere. And I'm just going to use the 4 tablespoons of that they call for sprinkled on top of this mixture. And once that's on there, you just have to just cover it over with cold water. and then just put it aside to sit for 2 hours. Now it comes out a little prettier if you use red pepper, but it'll still have the same flavor. There it is, just let that sit. And in the meantime, since we redid the kitchen there, I found my wife a nice yellow cast iron sunflower trivet there, and actually got her a good set of those all-clad tools there that she can use now, so she doesn't have the old junky ones anymore. And I'm going to get some spices out, and this spice rack that I made a couple of years ago has been really great for keeping track of everything and, having it right at your fingertips. So then I'm going to start with 2 cups of cider vinegar. Make sure it's a 5% acidity vinegar. I know they have some that you drink now that actually has a lower percentage. And then 3.5 cups of sugar. So, you can tell this is definitely going to be a sweet relish. And it's just plain old, sugar. And then you need some celery seed. There's 4 teaspoons of celery seed get sprinkled in the pot here. And, you want to start with a, decent-sized pot so it won't boil over on you when you add everything to it. And then a little bit of mustard seed goes in at the end. So, you got 2 teaspoons full of mustard seed. I'm going to sprinkle in that pot, too. And my wife is getting me trained pretty good at just cleaning up and put stuff away as I go so I don't wind up with a big mess at the end. So that's, been working out better. So then you just, put that pot and bring it to a simmer. But what you want to do is there's so much sugar in there that you want to make sure that you mix it up every once in a while just so that nothing burns to the bottom of the pot. And now after 2 hours, you take and you drain all the veggies through a colander like that. And just run cold water on it to rinse the extra salt off of them. So now you want to, you can see how that sugar takes quite a while to get dissolved before it, gets up to a boil. So just want to just keep mixing it up until it gets up to a simmer there. And then throw all the rinsed veggies, the zucchini and onion and peppers in there, and just bring that up to back to a simmer again. And I made sure that once I got everything in the pot there and turned the heat up a little bit, that I did go back and stir it up good every couple of minutes just to make sure that it was heating evenly and nothing was going to burn. So just keep giving it a stir until it comes up to a simmer. In the meantime, I got my first crock of pickles going, and they've only been going for a couple days now, but they are really good. Just so many cucumbers all of a sudden. So now that that's starting to heat up and starting to get up to the point of simmering again, what you have to do is just I time it for 10 minutes and just simmer it for 10 minutes, and then it'll be ready to put in the jars. And I do stir it occasionally as it's simmering, just to make sure I don't burn anything to the bottom of the pot. So when that 10 minutes is over, it's time to take the jars out. And the jars have been preheating for some time now also, so they're all nice, clean, and sterilized. And you can see I'm supposed to get 8 half pints or 4 pints out of this batch, and I always throw some extra jars in just to make sure I'm ready in case I come out with a little bit too much. So now it's time to start filling the jars, and I keep a burner on low underneath the pot just to make sure it's still at the simmering level when it goes in the jars and stuff, and just take my time and fill up each of the jars. Now you can see this is just a small batch, so it goes pretty quick, and you can do it in the half pint jars too, and you just process them a little bit shorter time. But I fill up the jars and then take there's that little Headspace gauge that you get for canning, that there it is, that you just poke in there to remove any air bubbles or anything, and then I'll go back and make sure the jars are full and check the Headspace on each one and just adjust it down to that 1/4 inch, and then go back and actually just wipe the seal surface off to make sure there's nothing going to be in the way of getting a good seal. Now, these lids were washed a while back, and I'm still using the ball lids because I have a lot of them left, but I'm going to switch over to different ones later on in the season. And then, once the lid's around, just add the rings here and just adjust them and snug them up, and time to put them in the water bath pot. And you can see you're pretty much dealing with a lot of steam and hot jars here, so you just want to take your time and go careful. And once to put them in there, I was short a couple jars because I started with 7 jars. I had to go back and add some water to get it an inch over the seal surface there, and then just turn the pot up and just bring it up to a boil. And there you can see my wife's trained me well to clean up as I go along, and I've already got that all cleaned up there, and dishes being washed, and that's all I had left out of the batch, so it really did turn out perfect. So now just once that comes to a boil, I start the timer, and for the pint-sized jars I've been using 15 minutes. For the half pints it says to use 10 minutes, so if you do it in smaller jars, it takes a little less processing time. And then once that 15 minutes is over, I like to take the jars out, but you can just actually leave the pot on the stove and let it cool with the jars in it and all if you want to. It's a little safer than handling hot jars, I think. So, either way works, whichever way you're comfortable with. But I somehow always take them out and just, set them spaced out on like a wood cutting board to cool. So there it is. It's still going to take a little while to float down and everything else, but they're just out of the pot and they're, all ready to put away. And there they are a day later. Everything's all cooled down, ready to be washed off and put in the root cellar. This is just one of those recipes from the Ball Blue book that we really enjoy, and I thought I'd share with you. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.